September 2, 1916, above the scarred battlefields of northern France. The air trembles with the roar of engines as a lone British BE.2 light bomber slices through the clouds, flanked by 3 nimble DH-2 fighters. Below, no man's land stretches like an open wound across the continent. Trenches choked with mud, barbed wire glistening with dew, and the faint cries of the fallen echoing upward. For the pilots above, this is more than a mission. It's a desperate dance with death. Among them, a DH-2 pilot gazes down, his heart tightening at the sight of war's cruel imprint. Shoving his emotions aside, he steels himself for the task ahead, until a shadow emerges from the clouds above, a gray bird of prey diving with lethal intent. The pilot's breath catches as a German fighter, its wings glinting menacingly, plunges toward the formation. With no radios to sound the alarm, he makes a split-second choice, his pulse racing with a mix of fear and resolve. He banks his DH-2 sharply, steering into the enemy's path with a courage that borders on madness. The two machines collide in a thunderous exchange of gunfire, bullets ripping through the sky. The German aviator, caught off guard by the DH-2's fierce barrage, peels away, his plane shuddering under the strain. The British pilot's chest swells with adrenaline as the duel ignites, a private battle unfolding while his comrades vanish into the distance, oblivious to his plight. Below, soldiers pause, their muddy faces tilting upward, mesmerized by the aerial ballet. Two warbirds, man's ingenuity turned to deadly art, clash in a duel to the death, their engines screaming defiance. The German pilot, skilled and evasive, slips through the British gunfire, retreating toward home. But the DH-2 pilot, driven by a burning need to protect his brothers in arms, gives chase, his plane slicing through the air beyond no man's land. The thrill of the hunt surges through him. Victory feels within reach, his fingers trembling on the Lewis gun's trigger. Unbeknownst to him, he's fallen into a trap. Deep in enemy territory, far from his squadron, the gun jams with a sickening click. Panic flickers in his chest as the silence betrays him. The gray bird loops gracefully, swinging behind the DH-2 with predatory precision. A deadly barrage erupts, tearing into the engine. The British pilot fights with every ounce of strength, his hands gripping the controls as metal groans and shatters. The aircraft lurches, plummeting toward the earth. He wrestles it into a rough landing, the impact jarring his bones, his spirit unbroken even as defeat closes in. Above, the German pilot watches, a smirk tugging at his lips. This is his 20th victory, a milestone etched in blood. His name is Oswald Boelcke, a man whose passion for flight began in childhood. Joining the army, he lobbied fiercely to fly alongside his brother, a pilot himself, and together they soared into legend. On September 1, 1916, the Boelcke brothers launched their first sortie, braving storms no others dared, their bond a beacon of courage. Oswald's skill shone brightest, earning him a place among the elite when the revolutionary Fokker E.I. Eindecker rolled off the line, its synchronized machine gun a game-changer. In August 1915, Boelcke ambushed a British observation biplane, his heart pounding as he closed in. The enemy fled, but Boelcke's aim was true, crippling the engine. With chivalrous restraint, he let the pilot land safely, an act that marked his first single-seater victory and the birth of a legend. Victories piled up, his fame spreading until crowds gathered wherever he went. On October 1, 1915, a young Manfred von Richthofen, then an unknown pilot, sought him out on a train. Their conversation sparked a connection, Richthofen hungry for Boelcke's wisdom, who could only offer, "Aim well." That meeting planted the seed for a future icon. Boelcke's tally soared, rivaling his friend Max Immelmann in a deadly ace race, both earning the Blue Max. But tragedy struck in June 1916 when Immelmann fell, leaving Germany reeling. Grounded to preserve their second ace, Boelcke turned his experience into the Dicta Boelcke, rules of air combat that would shape dogfights for generations. Restless, he returned to the skies, commanding Jagdstaffel II and recruiting talents like Richthofen. In just months, the squadron claimed 50 victories, with Richthofen emerging as a star pupil, destined to become the Red Baron. By October 28, 1916, Boelcke led 5 pilots into a chaotic dogfight. Chasing the same target with his friend Erwin Burnham, they breached his own dicta. As a British fighter cut across, both evaded, Burnham upward, Boelcke downward. In a tragic blink, their wings collided. Boelcke's plane shredded, spiraling into an unrecoverable spin. Richthofen, watching in horror, followed his mentor's descent to the crash. A nation mourned, his funeral procession winding through Dessau, a monument rising over his grave. 2 days later, a British fighter dropped a wreath over German lines, a note fluttering down. From the English Air Corps to the officers of the German Air Corps, we sympathize with his relatives and friends. We pay tribute to his bravery. In commemoration of Captain Boelcke, our brave and chivalrous opponent. In that gesture, enemies honored a hero whose legacy soared beyond the battlefield.